A lot of our community travels with service-connected medical conditions, often requiring daily prescription medication or medical devices. So planning isn't optional, it's essential. The good news is that with the right preparation, traveling with prescription medication and or medical devices is very doable, even internationally. Today, we're going to walk through exactly how you could travel safely with your prescription medication or medical devices, whether flying domestically or internationally. And since we know that Space A is an option for some of you, we'll cover that as well. This is about being prepared, staying healthy, and not letting anything get in the way of enjoying your travel experience. We've broken down this video into chapters so you could skip to the sections that you find most important to you, but we do recommend that you watch it all the way through because there are pieces throughout that you might find useful. First, let's start with some things that apply to every mode of transportation. Set a reminder for yourself to have your medications arrive at home before you take your trip. Always take your meds in their original bottles. Now, although the TSA does not require it, there are some states that require the original labeled bottle, as do some countries. We always recommend making a copy of the prescription, paper copy, and also maybe take a picture and put it on your phone so that you have it with you just in case you need it. And always bring more than you need. Think 1 to 2 weeks extra. You know, you never know if you're going to get delayed somewhere, whether it be returning on a flight or you choose to stay a couple extra days. Always keep your meds in your carry-on or your personal item. Never let them get checked in, and always put them in one place all together, like in a Ziploc bag or something of that nature where they're easy to get at. Remember to bring a doctor's letter for any kind of controlled substances you may have to bring along with you or medical devices. And remember to have a backup plan and refill your meds. Remember to remove any kind of medically necessary items from your personal item or carry-on bag and put them in the bin or the little bowl that they have right there, so that'll go through the x-ray separately. If you have a wheelchair or a scooter, TSA will screen it. This includes anything such as seat cushions, back pouches, or fanny packs that can't be removed from the wheelchair. Anything that can be removed will be removed and put through the x-ray machine. If need be, they will use other methods to screen the wheelchair, such as pat downs or wanding or things of those natures. If they're too big to go through, they will screen them independently using another method. So mobility aids like walkers, canes, crutches do need to be checked, screened, and go through the x-ray machine at TSA. If you need to have one of those devices with you because you can't stand for very long without it, please let them know so that you can get that returned to you immediately after screening. You may remove any prosthesis, cast, or support device like a sling or something like that prior to any TSA screening, or you can request to have it screened while on. If you use a CPAP machine, CPAP machines are considered medical devices, and so they don't count as a carry-on. All the parts can be kept inside the carrying case. We also recommend that you carry a copy of the FAA compliance letter with you for the device. For any of the devices that have batteries, lithium-ion and lithium metal batteries specifically have certain rules around what you can bring on board, how you bring it on board, and you want to check with the FAA, and you also want to check with your airline to make sure what those rules are for carrying on board. If you use oxygen devices, be sure to consult your doctor before flying. Personal medical cylinders are not permitted on board aircraft because they're considered hazardous materials, but you may be able to get personal oxygen concentrators for in-flight use. While requirements vary by airline, most require that you do notify them in advance, fill out documents, and they have specific requirements, battery requirements for your device. Just be sure that you can be safely disconnected from your oxygen concentrator during the TSA screening. Also, check with the manufacturer to make sure that your oxygen concentrator is FAA approved because airlines are only going to allow FAA-approved devices. Contact your airline for instructions regarding oxygen services. Airlines aren't required to offer it, but some do, so you want to check ahead of time before you even book your flights. If you're wearing any kind of internal medical device, such as a pacemaker, consult with your doctor first to get any kind of instructions on what to do when you're screening through security. If your medications are in solid or pill form, it's not necessary for you to tell the TSA agents you have them or anything like that. Keep in mind they could still screen it. It's going to go through the X-ray machine anyway because it'll be in your bag, so it can get checked that way. And just remember that the TSA doesn't require you to have your medications in their original bottles, but some states and foreign countries may require it. Normally, there would be the 3-1-1 rule that would apply to liquids, aerosols, and gels that go in the quart bag, but medications don't fall into this category. The only thing is you have to declare it. You have to let the TSA officer know that that is a liquid medication so that they can screen it when you go through. If you have any medication that is an injectable medication, you want to make sure that you keep the unused syringes with the medication at all times. If you have any used syringes, you want to make sure they're either in like a sharps container or some other type of solid plastic disposal container. And you can also get travel size sharps containers. We have a link for that in our description as well. So check that out. First, check with your doctor about how your medication should be transported and what you need to do to keep your medicine safe and effective. But here are a few ideas you can pick and choose from based on your specific circumstances. Always label your containers with a way to contact you while traveling. In the event that you leave your bag on the flight, it'll make it a lot easier for the airline to get a hold of you and get it back to you afterwards. While you can use ice packs or Ziploc containers or even insulated tumblers, for flights longer than a few hours, your ice packs may not be sufficient to keep your medication cold the entire flight. We do recommend you getting a travel medical cooler. Many of these have digital temperature gauges that will help you maintain the correct temperature for your medications. And some even have ice packs and USB charged cooling ability. Due to health and safety regulations, airlines typically will not be able to assist you with storing your medication on board the aircraft. However, you can always ask for additional ice when your ice packs melt. Just don't assume they'll be able to help you, so you need to have a plan B. While most hotel rooms nowadays do have mini coolers and mini fridges in the room, you want to check with the hotel in advance just in case, and keep in mind that not every fridge and cooler in the rooms are equipped to keep it cold enough for your medication. So you might want to just check with the hotel just in case. Ask them if they have a way you can store your medications. If you're traveling with any insulin pumps or ostomy bag, catheters or tubing or any of that nature, you do not have to remove it to be screened. You can just let the TSA agent know. They could take you into a room separately and have it be done there. Just make sure to request that up front, okay? You're also not required to remove any kind of hearing aids or cochlear implants, but be aware that if the device causes to alarm, they may need to pat you down or check the device out. And also, if you're a person that happens to have low vision where you utilize Braille note taker or other type of vision aid, TSA agent will need to inspect those. Just let them know if you're going to need it returned immediately so that they can get that right back to you. And if you're a passenger with a non-visible disability such as PTS, high stress and anxiety, Alzheimer's, or something of that nature, you don't have to be separated from your companion to be screened. You need to let the agent know the situation and they will walk you through it together. Now, if you're traveling with a service animal, generally you would go through the metal detector. Now you can go through that separately with your service animal or together. It is recommended that you have equipment for the animal, the leash and so forth. It is recommended that you have as little metal as possible on there So obviously, so that it won't alarm it. But you can also opt out of that and let the agent know before you do go in that you're going to opt out and you want to go for an alternative method of screening, which can include a visual inspection, the wanding. It can also include a pat down for both you and the animal. And yes, they will ask permission before they touch the animals, so you don't have to worry about that. They're very good at doing that. If for some reason you're in the checkpoint and you do need to step out to use the service animal relief area, you will need to start the screening process over. The other thing is if there's any kind of medications or food or anything that you bring for your service animal, treats or whatever, they're going to go through the regular X-ray machine with all your other gear. Look into TSA Cares. They can coordinate the support at both your departure and your arrival airports, and they pair you with a program specialist that can walk you through the entire process for this. It doesn't preclude you from screening, but they can help you get through the whole process. When traveling internationally, it can get a little more complicated, especially if you don't plan ahead. You could end up without your critical medication, and then you could spend all this time having to find a hospital or a doctor so you can get the right prescription, so that then you can get to the pharmacy and get your meds, instead of just enjoying where you're at. But remember, there's really no need to panic. As long as you plan ahead, you're going to have everything you need in place. You're going to have all your scripts with you. You're going to know what's legal in those countries and what's not, which we'll go over a little bit of that here in a second. And then you'll enjoy your trip. As you might have imagined or experienced, security, customs, and immigration in other countries is different than what you're used to here in the States. So well in advance of your departure, there are some things you always want to check first and make sure that you're good to go on. You want to make sure that your medications are not on any kind of banned or restricted list for the country or countries you plan to go to, keeping in mind that some of the medications legal in the US but are illegal in some other countries do include things like ADHD meds, sleep aids, different pain medications, and different decongestants and so forth. Other countries will require a letter from your doctor or some other documentation to allow you to bring your medication, your prescription medication, into the country. Check with the foreign embassy or the consulate for details of the countries you'll be transiting through, not just the one that you're going to, not just your final destination. Especially when going to another country, bring your meds in their original, prescribed medications in their original bottle. And you should remember to pack what you need for the trip, plus a few extra doses, just in case. And don't forget alcohol wipes and some extra Ziploc bags for the ice. International travel with a service dog requires extensive preparation, including checking destination-specific requirements like vaccinations and health certificates. Because there are so many variables, we do recommend that you reference the CDC and USDA websites, as well as contact your airline and the embassies or consulates of the countries you'll be traveling through or to. While it is a lot of work in advance, knowing that you are fully prepared will make the trip a bit easier. If you're flying Space Available or Space A, planning looks a little bit different, considerably different than flying commercial flights. Space A flights are military aircraft flights, and they are there for the mission, and we are passengers on board. So the mission's going to come first. It means that they may have delays, they may have to get rerouted. You may have a flight that is planned to leave today, but you couldn't get on board, now you'll have to leave tomorrow. And as a result, you have to be prepared for it. You got to plan, know that that could happen, and be prepared for it. You will need to make sure to manage your own medical needs during Space A travel. Medical support will probably not be available on a Space A flight. You always want to check with your passenger air terminal in advance, because not all Space A flights can accommodate persons with special medical needs. And this can also include medications, like radioactive medications, for instance. Again, check with the passenger terminal well in advance of the flight departure to be sure that you can bring it on board, or whether it be a medical device or certain medications, just to be sure you could take that flight. Just like commercial airlines, you must extensively prepare for any trip. In addition to referencing the CDC and USDA websites for guidance, you must call the Air Command well in advance of your desired travel dates to get specific instructions. Also, here's some things to consider with Space A. Space A flights are not your normal flight. They can be harsh conditions. They're not your regular commercial aircraft. So they're not all of them are climate controlled. They're going to be generally a little colder than a regular passenger aircraft. Many of the Space A flights also, not only are they colder, but they have jump seats. They're going to be limited or even no electrical outlets on board. When it comes to Space A, it is better to over-prepare than under-prepare. You could be flying with troops, animals, cargo, pretty much anything else, along with some seats for you and other guests. Because once again, you're after all that gets on board. Also, unlike commercial flights, if you're delayed in between and got rerouted, you're not going to have access to pharmacies or other things. It's not like a regular airport. You're going to be limited in what is available to you. You want to make sure you have extras of everything. Hey, but the cool thing is you're going to make some new friends along the way. That is actually the cool thing about it. You are going to make some friends along the way. Now, we'd really love to hear from you. What tips or experiences have you had or dealt with when traveling with medications or medical devices? Go ahead and put those down in the comment. It could really help everybody in the community out. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and join our community. For Vets on Vacay, this is Mike. We'll see you in the next one.